Come on, crowd, aren't you loving it? Ba da ba da da.
And it is for the Intercontinental Championship. And from Gainesville, Georgia,
I love the crowd interaction.
Either the new crowd taunts. I think the crowd taunts are actually pretty lit.
Well, this guy looks eager to add some gold around his waist. Let's see if he can do it.
So,
Has a tall task ahead.
are you prepared to possibly have our little discussion now?
I was never ready. But
You are always ready to rant about 2K. Do not lie to me.
I don't know. We can have it. I don't know if I'm ready.
Why don't you begin with all the things you hate about this game? And by that, just keep going on about how we disconnected in the online servers 3 times.
Okay. Well, for this game,
from Lucerne, Switzerland, weighing in at
I hate how I can't hear myself talking during my own promos. And I hate how they couldn't just recycle the voice from last year and just put that into the promo system this year.
But the voice was awful last year.
Yeah, but it was a voice nonetheless, where I can hear myself talk. Now, I'm acting. It's like I'm looking at a black and white Mime movie, and I don't like how the servers are not that much better. No, in fact, they're worse than 16. Which is really sad.
But that, again, shouldn't really surprise you that much. I mean, we all knew that they were lying when they said, oh, we're going to fix the server issues.
Yeah, but I would have never thought that the servers were going to be worse than this last year's ever.
Right.
That's crazy. I don't like how we can't look at custom entrances online anymore.
What do you mean?
We can do it on private
entrances.
Well, when you can look at private matches, that's cool. But when you go on 2K tonight, they just skip over your entrances and go right into the match. What if the other person wants to see your entrance? Can't have that because just a nitpick, but
that's a bit of a nitpick because I mean we usually do private anyway.
Yeah. I don't like how.
And we're about to learn that right here. Oh, the look on this guy's face tells me he's about to inflict some major pain. You better look out.
I can't really think of anything else right now. I haven't played the game.
Let's try something simple. Let's start out with what do you like?
Oh! Trade victory. Let me get on that real quick. Hold on.
Is that like or hate?
Dislike.
Okay.
I don't like how. Get off of me! Okay, I bet. I don't like how the creative victory. It's a nitpick of mine. It's not nothing to really hate against the game, but I like the feature. I just had
you don't think
a
they put
different.
enough in it?
No, it's not that. My vision of the feature was way different than what they had put out before me. I thought the way they were explaining it, I'm thinking to myself,
create your own animations, like your own taunt animations and everything. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too, because that used to be in wrestling games, like way back, create your own taunt animations. But I guess like at the same time, I don't get the concept of the mode. Like it never really seemed that big of a deal to me. Like of all the things that I wanted to customize, I've never been like, I want to be able to have my own unique victory scene. Like it just doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I mean, and I guess to an extent that shows that they're trying to do so much with the creation suite that they're going into such little details like that. But to me, even if they did have create your own animations in it, I wouldn't use it anyway. I just don't get the point of the mode, and I can't appreciate it because I don't get it. I mean, I guess I kind of want to talk about some things that I hate too before we move on to liking. I hate the fact that you can't do Backstage Brawl online, which you can, by the way. I think that's the stupidest thing ever, because it's one of the key features they added, and you can't even do it online. You can do crowd fighting online, but you can't do Backstage Brawls online, which I think it's pointless, because why would you go through...
Damn.
It just doesn't make sense. And keeping with the theme of crowd fighting and backstage fighting, I really dislike that you can't do multi-man crowd fights and backstage fights. But at the same time, I get why, because they're working with implementing split screens in instead of having, because like if you remember back on last gen when we did backstage fights, the person that you were fighting had to come with you so you can move along the backstage area. You remember that?
Yeah.
Well, they're doing split screen, so the opponent no longer needs to be with you, and you can just move freely. And I can appreciate that, but it bothers me that we can't do the multi-man fights, even though I get why. Like, if what you're doing is going to keep you from doing, you know, this new addition to its fullest extent, then just don't do it. Like, do the wide angle, like do the far back wide angle, which I know a lot of people don't like. But at least we would be able to do multi-man stuff, you know? That's just a complaint of mine. I don't like that I can't do it. It really kind of sucks, because it's like one of the best parts about the game that backstage fights and crowd fights are back. I really do not like, and I hate this with a passion, I think the promo system is a bit too difficult to get. Even though that I understand it now, I think it's way too difficult to grasp. Because like you said, like, I mean, you'll be saying stuff and you'll think it's coherent and it fits with what you're saying, but it'll still like dock your points and everything. Like, it doesn't make sense sometimes. And I think that could have been better in how they put that together. That's pretty much all I have to say for stuff I don't like. I mean, online servers obviously are a pain, but I'm not even really going to pay them any minds, because like I said, I didn't expect them to fix anything. I wouldn't say I expected it to be worse, but I'm not surprised that it is. I mean, so you want to move on to stuff we like now, so try to fix some of the negativity.
There's a lot of stuff I do like about the game.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of good things about it.
I do like I don't want to say more in-depth my career mode, but it's more than it was last year.
Yes, definitely.
So I guess you can say it's more in-depth. I like the backstage fighting and the crowd fighting, even though it's not online. I do like it.
More multi-man. It is good.
I like the new ladder and table animations on this game. It's one of the things that really caught my eye when I was share playing it. I like the new crowd taunts and how you can interact with the crowd now. Because I'll go over to the crowd and do my taunt, and I just hear everybody stands up and boos me, and that's kind of cool.
Graphically, obviously, the game is great.
Yeah.
Graphics-wise. But, 2K have always been good with their graphics.
I like the creation suite. Not more to be said about that. We know how good that is.
Yes.
I think those are just key points. There's a lot of other things I like, but there's like key things I do like, key features.
I share the same opinion as you. I think the creation suite is great, even though I don't necessarily get creative victory, and creative video is kind of with me. I can appreciate the fact that they have so much in there, because if you're the kind of person that does get those things and knows how to use it to their best extent, what you can do is, the possibilities are endless. Again, I think the ladder matches and table matches are so much better this year than they probably ever have been. Because I just keep thinking back to that one Fatal 4-Way ladder match we had with Earthquake and Goldberg and Shane and Finn. That's probably like the most fun I've ever actually had playing a game since I got a next-gen console. With that said, the physics aren't the best still, but I'm not going to expect, you can't really expect anything to be the best. Like, everything's going to have its problems. They're definitely a lot better this year than they were the last 2 years. I'll give them that, because I haven't seen ladders go flying out of the ring by bumping into them this year. Let's see. Little things, obviously, are very big, because I enjoy the fact that when you have an outside arena, you can choose what time of day it is when you play out there. I think that's like the coolest thing, because to me, like, the little things that you do really is what brings it all together. So I love the fact that you can choose the time of day. I really enjoy the fact that, because I don't know if you've noticed this, but when you're in my career, if you hurt somebody to the best extent, like if you get them down to like the maximum possible damage, the referee will actually stop the match to check on them. And I actually really like that feature. I think that's like a small thing that didn't really need to be in the game, but really helps it. It kind of helps it in the long run. Graphically, obviously, the game is great. One thing that I do like is I really enjoy the rollout feature, and that's something that I didn't hear you talk about, and I wanted to bring that up because that is one of the main talking points I wanted to get to. What do you think of that rollout feature in multi-man matches? Are you for it, against it?
I am for it. I like the fact that they implemented something to stop all the chaos inside the ring. And Sam believes that it happens too much. I don't know. I don't feel that way.
Yeah,
it may happen too much.
Yeah, it may happen. It happens at random times, but I don't think it happens too much. And I mean, is it perfect? No, but it's as good as it can be for right now, and I think they're only going to build on it, and it's only going to get better. And even though it kind of does slow the match down, I don't think it hurts it overall. Because, again, we can go back to that ladder match that we had. How many times did someone get knocked out with that rollout feature?
Tons of times.
Exactly, but that match was still fun because it doesn't halt the speed of the match that much. It just provides an opening in which you can win, so you don't have hour-long matches like we used to have on 2K16.
Yeah.
So, okay. I also want to say that even though they added more into the game to make it more realistic, I feel I have more fun playing this, and it makes it. This game feels more like a video game than the last two have, despite having more features that make it quote unquote more realistic. I feel like it's more fun, even though there's all these things that's supposed to make it less fun, you know? You know what I'm saying? It feels more like an arcade-style fighting game, even though with all the new features. Do you think, like, how would you say that this is more fun to play than 2K16 and 2K15? Is what I'm trying to get to.
I feel like most of my fun on the game goes around playing online and playing with friends and whatnot. And with this game, I can have fun without playing online. So I would say this game is more fun than 16. Because 16 was mostly around online play and how much fun I can have with that.
I completely agree. And I think another token of how good this game is the fact that I got the accelerator, but even though I got the accelerator and already unlocked everything, I'm going to get all the DLC with the season pass and all that, I still feel the need to do universe mode in my career. Even though it's completely irrelevant and unnecessary, the modes are so good, I still feel the need to do them even when I don't need to. And most of the time when it comes to video games, you play the main game modes just for the fact that you have to. Not because you necessarily want to. And I think that this game, you know, it's, even though I don't need to, I feel the want to because of how good the modes are. And you talked about my career, and I think my career is a lot better this year. It's not like the best it could be. I still wish you could do a couple things. I mean, tag teams are awful. Like, they put you in a tag team and it's like the worst possible thing. But, I mean, once you get away from tag teams, I have had so much fun playing my career this year. Because the promo system, say what we will about it, and we have hated on it thus far, but I think it really helps rivalries mean more. Because I don't know about you last year, but whenever I started a rivalry, it never felt like that big of a deal. I would start a rivalry and I wouldn't see the guy for like the next 3 weeks, and then we get to the pay-per-view and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feuding with this guy. But in this one, I started a feud with Finn Balor. I did like one promo to start the rivalry. I interfered in his matches. I interfered in his interviews. There were a couple cutscenes where we came out, and then the promos is what really brought it home. We did like 3 promos in the rivalry, and it felt more organic. Like, it felt so much better than it did last year. So the rivalry system in my career is like superior right now, and that really helps it overall because rivalries are like the main thing to make my career good. I think the other thing I want to bring up is that sometimes I feel like there's too much going on still. Like, I think I don't know how to put this, but I mean, I think there's just so much in the game, and that actually ended up hurting them in the long run, because with so much, there are a few things that are perfect, even though you're not going to get things perfect, but there are a few things that are as good as they could have been because of all the things that they have. Like, obviously there are things that suffered because they put more time and energy into something else, and I think, you know, that really ends up hurting the game overall, because, I don't know, like, have you played a Hell in a Cell match?
I think I played one.
Okay. Did you notice that you can't put anybody through the top of the cell anymore? Like, you can break the trapdoor, but they won't fall down. That's what I'm talking about. How do you screw that up? That system has been in the game since, like, forever ago, since THQ had it. But somewhere along the lines, they didn't pay much attention to Hell in a Cell, and then that feature just got wiped. And, like, I have no... How does that even happen? Because that actually makes Hell in a Cell matches boring. To me. Like, I've played one Hell in a Cell match. One.
Uh-huh.
Because... I think sometimes they do too much. Like, they're trying to do too much. What are some indifferences you have? Like, things that you don't necessarily hate, but you don't necessarily like either.
I don't hate... Well, for one, the promo system. I don't hate it. Mm-hmm. It's just sometimes you think you know what you're doing, but you really don't.
Right.
I don't know. There's not really a lot.
Well, the promo system is like the one thing that everyone has really been indifferent on. It's like, I'm not necessarily sure how to feel about this. To me, this is like the best way you can sum up the promo system. And the rollout meter, even though we both agreed that the rollout meter is a good thing, because obviously there's a lot of people that don't like it, but to me the best way to sum that up is look at the purpose that they're meant to serve. Okay, the purpose of the rollout meter is to make multi-man matches less chaotic and flow easier, and the purpose of the promo meter is to provide a better way for your My Career character to have better rivalries and give him a better platform to change his personality. Are they perfect? No. Yeah. But the purposes that they're there for are great. And it shows that they are trying to solve problems with their game with new features and not just trying to rehash something. And to me, the worst thing you can do is either even worse than just ignoring the issue is trying to not do anything different. Like, just try to bring in, like, not try to make it your own. And that's the one thing I will give 2K. When they moved to next gen, they didn't take the old mechanic that THQ had with them. They built their own mechanic from the ground up. And to an extent, that's why they have been such mixed reviews, because they're trying to build, they're trying to build their own version of the game instead of just carrying on what THQ had.
Yeah.
Because we get in this argument all the time, like, oh, they took this out, and, you know, there's no more public lobbies, and, you know, they lost backstage fighting for, like, what was it, 2 years? But I can appreciate the fact that they're trying to do something completely different with the series compared to where 2K for THQ. I mean, it was the same game mechanic for like 5 years straight, and it never really felt like, yeah, because it never felt like they were doing anything different. like, sure, they would add something, like, oh, here's a new move animation, and here's a new story mode, but I never felt like they were doing anything different. Mechanic-wise, it just felt like the same game with, like, a facelift. Which is funny, because that's how most people look at THQ games. I don't know. Would you say that you prefer the old THQ games, which is WWE 13, 2K, not 2K14, but, well, kind of 2K14 because 2K14 played on THQ's engine still. But would you say you prefer WWE 13, which is like which was the last one they did, over 14, 15, 16, and 17?
No. I see. This is the thing with 2K games. There's always something to hate about 2K. There's something to hate about all games, because you're not gonna be satisfied with all games. But there's always something with 2K that is like nerve-wracking. But the game is either so fun or it's good anyway with the little nerve-wracking thing that you can kind of bypass it. So, but no, I wouldn't put 13 over all those games. No, I do miss 2K's public lobbies, though. You were addressing that.
Because that's the main issue that I think we've always had, is that public lobbies is not on current gen. It's on last gen. The last gen games have it, but this does not.
I just don't understand why they don't have it. It's really a pet peeve. It really is. And if you haven't played online, in 2K14, 15, 16, or 17 on last gen, you're not gonna understand. But it's a necessity. I feel like it's a necessity if you're trying to play online, because when you're playing online on public lobbies, you can actually search up what you want to search up. You can search up Hell in a Cell.
It was a great. I think the main purpose was that it was a great way to meet new players in the community.
Yeah.
Because you can't really do that in 2K Live and WWE Live and 2K Tonight, because it's just you immediately go into the match. And unless you have a microphone, you can't talk to them.
Right.
With that said, somebody brought up this idea, and I want to run this by you because I kind of like it, but All right, so you know how in NBA they have Park, right?
Yeah.
The idea was that there would be a new online mode that would be the Performance Center, basically, where you start out in my career. And you notice when you're in the Performance Center, there's all the rings set up in the background and everything. The idea would be your My Career character in the Performance Center with a ton of other My Career characters, and it would be like Parkinson's, where they would break off into the rings and have their own matches. Like one ring would be for fatal. Yeah, like one ring for tag team, one fatal 4-1 triple. It's basically taking the system with Park and putting it in WWE. I like that idea. I do, but I'd be interested to see how they pull it off.
I don't see how they can do it though. Because they can barely
run Park.
You know, no, we're not talking about NBA right now. Like, you can barely run
the online. They would need to rehash the server to handle it, essentially.
Yeah, that. But when you go and make 2K Tonight or WWE Live, you know, there's no one playing that.
Yeah.
You know, you'll go like fatal 4-way, and it's like one opponent showing up out of the other three you gotta play with.
I'll be lucky if I get one. I've tried to do a multi-man match on live so freaking much, and I never get anybody to join. Never. And it's like, is no one playing online?
Exactly. And it's really sad. It might work, but
Well, because
you
it would be a concept of a way to get ranking up your my career guy and getting VC. Like, remember, you're basically taking the park system and just putting it into WWE. And now that WWE work on a VC system, like using VC to upgrade your character and unlock things, it would probably get more activity. Because, I mean, you can say the same thing about NBA. Like, Park is usually worked great, but I've tried to play just a straight online game and I've had trouble finding people there. But like, it works on that game, so why wouldn't it work here?
this is my thing with Park. Park has a purpose on NBA 2K though, because when you think of basketball, you want to play some kind of. When people think of basketball, it's like you got high school, college, stadium kind of basketball. Then you got
brings
street
that
ball.
element of like
And
street
Park-
basketball and stuff like that into it, because it's like its own area, like its own affiliation. I get it, but like the point would be there too, because it would be all about upgrading your my career characters, and throughout my career, you go to the performance center to get better. Like, it's got its purpose there. It's not as strong as it is in NBA, but it definitely does have its purpose. I don't know, it was an idea that was brought up, and I kind of like it. I think it's clever, and it would be but would it be a good enough replacement for public lobbies?
Nah. Nah. I don't think it would. If they can format it good, it could be. But if they can't format it, nah, it's not gonna replace lobbies. Sadly.
Well, yeah.
I want to do that idea
Just to
in
see
like
how
a
it
universe
would.
mode. Oh no, we're getting to something else right now. I have I had an idea, and this is one of my I want to say pet peeves. One of my disappointments with the My Career Invasion, because when they implemented that in 2K15,
Yeah, it was 2K15.
16,
15 was the
15.
invasion.
I'm thinking to myself, hey, me and you can have a private lobby and we can fight online in our My Career. But it wasn't working out. It didn't work out that way.
Well, how would you do that, though?
I don't know. I don't know how you would do that. But I'm just saying that's what I envisioned. That's what they were talking about. So I'm thinking, okay, I can play Andy via public match. We could be in our My Career characters, but we're playing online. Something like that. And
the only way I can see that working out is like you go to your menu, like the main My Career menu, and it's like issue a challenge to one of the players, and then the player would have to accept. But it's like, I'm not really sure how that would. I like the idea, I like the concept, but I'm not sure how they would structure it.
Yeah. But what I was saying is, if we can do that, like the performance center thing, we can meet people. I don't know, like, oh, okay, I guess I won.
You didn't sound very enthusiastic about that win.
No, because I did some kind of clothesline and the table just broke. I didn't do a table finisher or nothing. It just pure 2K physics right there. But I don't know, man. I really want to implement that thing,
Mm,
the career invasion thing. I want to implement it either on my career or universe mode because there's a thing called online association of
Kofi
NBA 2K,
Kingston.
and you can get your own team, invite people to your association, and y'all can play online games,
mhm.
and y'all play for a championship and all that.
Right.
And it's really cool. And I'm thinking we can do that in WWE. I just don't know how it would
Roman
work. But
Reigns.
if they could do something like that for WWE, it could be really good. That could pull
Dean
off the line.
Ambrose.
I grab this.
The Road Dogg Jesse James.
Well, and like I like the idea, but I don't know, it's an interesting one. I really just don't even know how that would play out.
I don't know either.
Buckle up because we have a contest that's going to blow the roof off this place. Don't buckle up. The hell with it. We have a team led by one of our breakout
Can I just say,
a match that will be etched in the record books.
and
Yeah.
This is gonna be epic.
something that I'm indifferent on is the roster size. And I know that's such a weird thing to say because I was one of the people that complained for 2K15 having such a small roster. But is 130 plus people really necessary? Because how long did we have 2K16? I got it on launch day. When did you get it?
I got it around, I don't know. I think around November or December.
Okay. We had it. I had it since launch day. You had it since like a couple weeks afterwards.
Uh-huh.
Did you use even 75% of that roster?
The following
No.
tag team contest.
I didn't either.
No.
I just think that is like so unnecessary. Because
Weighing in at
I mean,
265
80 people would be fine. 130 is a bit overkill, and I'm sorry. I know that's an unpopular opinion because it's all about having the option to, not necessarily wanting to, in games apparently, if you ask critics. But I just think 130 plus people is overkill. I don't think you need that many people. Especially when you're putting jobbers in. Like, I'm really never going to play as Curtis Axel. Like, I remember in 2K16 playing as Darren Young and Titus O'Neil just as like a joke in our online matches. I never used them again afterwards. Like, there was never really a purpose to using them. I think it's too many. Honestly.
I don't see the purpose of having all those guys in there, but I guess it's just there for options, you know.
Yeah, because like I say, it's all about appeasing the critics and the sticklers. It's about having the option to, not necessarily wanting to.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and then. I don't get it. I mean, part of me kind of gets it because it's like, alright, we have to have all the people on the main roster on there because it makes sense. Legends have to be there because it's crucial to the game at this point. They've always had a Legends roster. And now you have to implement the NXT roster for my career. But, like, could you not just, like, trim it down a little bit? Like, maybe 100 at the most? I don't think 130 is necessary. I felt that way last year about 120 people. I mean, have you? Where do you stand on Because because people get really upset about this, but I'm kind of like not one of those people. Where do you stand on like some of the character models just not looking that good?
When I look at wrestling games, I understand why people have a problem with it, because you're wrestling and you expect the people to look good.
Yes.
But
especially with 2K graphics are that good,
yeah. I don't have a big problem with it. And to me, you really, unless you do like some kind of virtual reality thing, you can't really grasp the entirety of someone's body model. So I don't really have a problem with it. I feel like 2K games in general, right now, they're at their peak as far as graphics go. Because when I look at 16 and 17, there's, they had some graphical improvements, but
yes,
it wasn't that big to me. It wasn't like we jumped from 2K14 on a PS3 to 2K15 on the PS4.
From 14 to 15, that was the big leap.
Yeah.
But to me, because people get always upset about it. It's like, this person doesn't look as good as this person. It's like, well, yeah, but you gotta keep in mind, like, one, some of the people that are in this game are dead. Okay, let's get that out of the way right now. There is no way for them to scan them properly. They're scanning it off of a picture. But when it comes down to stuff like people that are on the main roster, people like, because I'll notice this, that like Cena, Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar look great. Like, they look as realistic as they can get. But then there are other people that just they look a bit off, but like they're not like, if they're not like deceased, or they're not a legend that are now elderly and don't look as they did. When it's stuff like that, when it's like, there's no reason to do it. Like when it's two people that wrestle now and they're both young and you're capable of scanning them, there's no reason why one should look better than the other. But when it comes down to legends, I'm willing to give it a pass. But at the same time, that's just kind of like a nitpick, because I really don't care that much about the models. Because you're spending most of the time wrestling anyway, and they're moving around and fighting, so when are you going to have time to just stare at them? Like, really?
It's not that big of a deal to me. I can't stand when people in the community be like, oh, if it's not like Bring On the Pain or whatever that game's called, I'm not buying it. And I'm just like, no, that game came out a long time ago.
For the PS2. It is a really fun game, though. I do own that. But, God, because I kind of thought you were that kind of person that the models met. Because when you saw the NBA 2K17 footage, you got on them about Durant. I don't think it was Durant. It might have. I don't know. Who had the toothpick arms? Remember?
Durant. It was Durant.
Yeah, because you were all over that. So I kind of figured that, you did care about it, but... So, was that just like a one-time thing? Was it a different scenario?
When it comes to... See, NBA 2K is a whole different beast. Because... I don't like 2K because NBA 2K. Because we look at WWE, they have, when you go to the creation suite, there's a ton of different body models. But when you go to NBA 2K, there's maybe 5, maybe less than that, 5 different body types. And it's like, you got fat guys, you got skinny guys, you got fit guys, you got all these guys playing basketball.
I've never seen a fat basketball player in the NBA. I mean, so maybe that's kind of why, but...
I guess. But I'm talking about, when you look at basketball players in general, there's different variations of them. And, well, you got Big Baby Davis. He's kind of It's kind of bad, but you know what it is. Yeah, I just don't like the body types on NBA 2K. And when I saw KD with that skinny body, I was just like, oh crap, they made a new body model and whatnot. But it's sad because most likely that's not like one of the body models on 2K, my career and whatnot. So it's kind of sad. It just kind of surprised me that he was that skinny, which is why I was going off.
Okay. So it wasn't really anger at the model being inaccurate, but it was more or less just how you felt about the creation. I always kind of felt that I think that 2K's creation suite, with the exception of 2K15, has been really, really good and really, really impressive. I think that to create a superstar is like at the pinnacle right now. Because, I mean, have you been a creative superstar? Well, I know you have been, but like outside of making your My Career character, to like really look at all the options.
Nah.
Well, I'm sure Zay has, but
I looked at most of them, but not all of them.
like yeah,
I know there's a lot more.
Yeah, like you got the Optimus Prime helmet. There's like the Super Saiyan hair. There's like the giant crying baby mask. There's Magneto helmet. It's like so many things. Like they really do give you the option to be as free as you want, and that's great. You know, I really do like that. Like, is there any complaints you have about the creation suite? Not creative victory, because we already have talked about that, but stuff like anything else, like, you know, create a superstar, create an arena, you know, something you don't like about them.
Is there a thing as too much?
Yes,
like
I think if we're talking about the roster again, yeah.
I mean, you look at the creation suite, you got all that going on, but for me, it's a little too much. Like, the body morphing, oh my goodies. It's...
Compared to NBA, where they only have limited body models, you can create your own body model in this game.
You got your 2K, they have like 30 different eye colors in there. They got like 50-something different hairstyles. I'm just like, this is a little extra right here.
Too much, but, yeah, I see.
No, I guess he's good. That's my own complaint with it.
You don't see yourself creating a Super Saiyan anytime soon?
Maybe. I got a couple months. It's too much for me, man. I'm not a creating guy myself, so when I see all these options, I'm just like,
I think your creative ability is evident by Winter Soldier this year.
Like, I put like 30 minutes into Winter Soldier, and that was it for me. I can't spend an hour, 2 hours.
But see, I'm the opposite. Like, I put a lot of work into my guy, and then I'll go in and I'll change his attire. Just because of how much the creation has, I want to try to get, like I see how everything really looks. Like, I like exploring with it. But I can't understand your argument when you say it's too much. And I think that might be a good problem with it, that when it comes down to a lot of things, there is just too much. The roster's too much, a bit, like, creation suite, there might be too much. They add, like, I think too much is a common problem that they have with it, but is too much really a bad thing? Like, or is that more or less just pet peeves?
I think too much can be a bad thing, and that just goes with anything in life. If you have too much of anything, it can be a bad thing. I think that 2K, that really when they put most of their effort into things they don't need to put effort in, and I want to say WWE 2K because I don't really have a problem with the what they put effort in and what they didn't put effort in. But just 2K in general, like they'll put effort on the smallest things but not fix like a big issue.
Right, but you gotta remember at the same time, this kind of goes back to the community because there's the forum, and you got all these freaking people in the inner. And we've discussed the 2K community before and how they can be, but you know you gotta remember they got all these people in their ear saying, "I want this feature, I want this feature, I want this back." And sometimes they get wrapped up in appeasing them that they let other things go by the wayside, you know.
But this is my thing. If the community really cared about the game,
they wouldn't be like that.
No, like it's a two-person, two-party relationship going on because when you look at NBA 2K, I'll get NBA 2K props. They try to listen to their fan base. But sometimes the community they want too much in it. We want this, we want, oh my gosh, we want this, oh, it'll be great, it's just bad, and whatnot. And 2K just gotta be like, okay, look, you ain't getting this, plain simple. We're not gonna submit to
But then that's how you get people that are like, oh, 2K
want.
doesn't care about its fans, and this and that. Like, that's, you know, it's... I mean,
yeah,
sometimes they just get wrapped up in trying to meet all the demands that they let stuff go, you know? But despite that, I wouldn't say that the gameplay-wise, it's a bad game. I mean, are there elements that they could improve on? Yeah, but gameplay-wise, I don't think it's bad. So I don't really mind the fact that they put a lot of effort into the smaller stuff this year, you know?
Yeah.
Like, is there any glaring issues you have gameplay-wise, like animations that don't look right, or, you know, physics that just don't make sense, and stuff like that?
Yeah. I don't know.
This could be over quick. Oh, look at another vicious shot with that foreign object.
You know, like the other thing that we talk about is wanting to have special referee back. You know, and if like, do you want special referee and public lobbies back to the extent where you would want them to not change anything about the gameplay for next year?
Yeah, what?
Do you want special referee or public lobbies back so much to the extent where you would be happy if they didn't change anything animation or gameplay wise and put all their effort into bringing those two things back?
Yes, I would be happy if they just put all the effort in those two things. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm happy with the gameplay on 17 and whatnot. I'm happy with all the animations, but they don't need to change anything in my book as far as animations go and gameplay goes. Hell, I was happy with the gameplay back on 16, even though we were ranting about the physics and stuff.
Yeah.
I was happy with the gameplay then, but where the charger at? Yeah, if they just put the effort in, you know, special referee, just bring some of the modes back. And that's another thing I want to get into. Like, they took a whole bunch of match modes that was in the game out. And it's just like, it's really sad. Because they haven't been in the game for 3 years. It's been out on the current gen.
I quit matches I missed the most, I think. Yeah.
I quit.
Special referee.
Special referee. Handicap matches.
Handicap matches are in the game.
They are?
Yeah. Handicap
Is
matches
there a
are
freeze one? Is there one online?
online? I don't know. I've never tried to wrestle a handicap match online. But they're back in the game. They brought them back like last year.
He's making a statement here with this attack. Few superstars are as dominant as this guy.
Okay.
This might be Superman punch. We've seen so many finishers dish out. I don't know how you can know where you are. This could be it. Correction. This should be it.
If you had to give the overall game a rating, what would you give it and why? And try to go into as much depth as you possibly can. Out of 10.
Insane. Does this building have a curfew? I feel like we might be here all night. What a beating. Oh, that was a hard shot. What a strike. Outside of the ring here, there are so many different tools at your disposal. Yeah.
I give this game a 7.
Everywhere.
7?
Maybe a 6.5. Because I'm really disappointed
Bringing it back into the ring.
in the servers. 2,
This juncture of the match makes the hey down. It could be over here. Yeah, maybe. 2. He wants no part of the outside. And I don't blame him. Nothing good ever happens outside.
I don't think it's that much of an improvement. I mean, it is an improvement from 16, but there's some areas that it's not that much of an improvement. I would give it a 7, a solid 7. I like the gameplay. I like the more in-depth creation suite in my career. I haven't touched Universe Mode yet, sadly. But I did look in there and I saw a lot of new. Yeah. I just don't think yearly games deserve higher than an 8. Because, you know, you change a few things, whether it be the menu, a few gameplay changes, but it's not that much different than the old game or last year's game. So I can't give it an 8.
Would you think the games would be better if they took a year and a half to 2 years for every release? Instead of just
Yes.
one?
Oh, dramatically better. They'll be so much better. And I think that's what I think that's what they do in UFC, which is why UFC doesn't disappoint. So I didn't play UFC 1, but I played the demo for UFC 2. And I know UFC doesn't release a game every year. So they're taking their little breaks. They come out with a new game, but it's great. So, you know. If WWE, and see, I don't understand why they do it with WWE. I just see, and to be honest with you, I don't see why they do it with any game, to be honest with you. I understand NBA because of the season, it's a new season, but they can literally just put a roster update on the game and change the rosters.
Yeah, that was the thing.
WWE
Like, just release a game and then do roster update and then like, yeah, that's
Yeah. But for WWE, I don't see why they do it because it's not like a season thing like with NBA. So I don't see why they do it every year. But seeing as 2K, how they operate, they have to have yearly releases for some reason.
See, the thing with me is, I think that if they took longer to make the game, they would probably anger the community because they're used to this. They're used to yearly releases.
Well, let me ask you this. I know that I don't know what year, but it just came a time when THQ just started doing. Wait, did THQ do the SmackDown versus Raw games?
Yes.
Okay. So when did they start doing those every year? Because they was SmackDown 10, 11, 9.
4 was when they started that series.
Okay.
And
But I know before 04, they had periods of time where they would make a game, wait a couple years, not years, but a couple months, and make a new game. They would space it out, and people loved it.
Well, that was because they had two different companies making two different series for WWE games at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So you had two different companies with their own schedule. There was an alternative to everything. And then in 04, they stopped that, and then they did the SmackDown vs. Raw series.
Okay. I don't. You can. Yeah. I guess if they lead, it would anger the community, but I'd rather give the community something worthwhile to play than just feed you this lackluster game every year. That's little to no changes in the last one. That's just my opinion.
Right. But with that said, I think that 2K eventually will have a huge overhaul, essentially, one day. Or 1 year, to be more specific. And they could make the best wrestling game ever, essentially. If they put enough work. I think they're capable of doing that.
They ain't gonna do it on a yearly basis. I don't think they are. I think it's gonna have to happen with a little space or a little bit more time.
If they were to sell the license, who would you want them to give it to?
EA, without a doubt. I don't, because EA does a wonderful job with UFC. I don't understand why they can't do it with WWE. I don't care if you got to scrap UFC. You can scrap UFC, give it to 2K if you want. But I would love to see what they can do with
that would make
WWE.
it easier on EA. They would have the right to. That would make it easier on EA because they have the right. They would have the right to Lesnar.
Oh yeah. But I just people smash on EA because of Madden and NBA Live, saying NBA Live is trash first off, and two, Madden's the same game every year. But I can argue the same thing for NBA 2K.
Right. Well, Live's not yearly, is it? Live is not yearly, is it?
No. Well, yes, it was yearly, but they took a little bit more time this year to get their game together. They're coming out, I think, January or February. And everybody's mad because it's like, oh, why would they release it then? They're halfway through the season by now.
At that, it's kind of a good point, to be honest.
I don't have a problem with it. If they can take more time and make their game better, by all means, do it. And in my opinion, I feel like NBA Live is doing that because, one, when they tried to sell at the same time 2K did, they got beaten down badly. Because I think 16 sold like 16 million, whereas Live only sold 8,000 on opening day. So they were like, okay, we ain't selling our game in the same day as 2K anymore. We are going to wait a little bit, see what they're doing with 17, take ideas from them and implement them. Well, yeah, take ideas from them or see what they're doing wrong and try to do it better on our game. That's what I feel like they're doing.
Well, let's compromise here. Let's say they don't take a year and a half, 2 years between every release, but they extend it. They extend the release to December, so they have about a month or two more of possible developing and changes, and it's still in time for Christmas season. Would that be better?
Would that be good enough?
Yeah, would that be good enough?
Also, it depends on how hard they work. And I think they can do it. I wouldn't say, I don't know. They could definitely do it. But I don't think it'll be good enough in that 1 month, 2 month process. I don't think so. They can do it, but I just don't think it'll be at full
Good
potential.
enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think that about pretty much wraps up the discussion.
Okay.
It was a pleasure joining me for this.
It was a pleasure talking about this.
This probably went a lot better than you probably expected it to.
Oh, it did. What the heck?
I
Okay.
will now be heading out. Thank you
Okay.
for providing your opinion.
I'll see you later, man.
Would you like to plug your channel really quickly? Now that you upload on it.
Shout out to the Real Deal Dr. J. That's my channel.
It's JM with
Spiritual Insight.
Oh man.
I think that's all right there, man. I haven't posted in a while, so no one likes me.
You start a series, you get 2 episodes out, and you're like, yeah, I'm done. Oh, man.